You're live. Okay. Hi, everybody. I hope you can see us. Hold on. The camera. I don't have access to this feature. Okay. Please let us know if you can see us. The camera is on, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there. Move a little bit, Stevie. He's gonna move. Go. Right. Can you put if you're watching us? Please put a comment saying that you can actually see us, right? And let us know. Welcome to 2023 World Autism Acceptance Day. Very happy to have you here. I'm very excited to have DJ Stevie.
Yes.
Okay, so what do you want to say?
Hi. I'm DJ Stevie, and today is Happy World Autism Acceptance Day. I hope you like it.
We're here to discuss your journey raising you. How old is you now, Stevie?
20.
20, approaching 21, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about with parents who also have kids, special kids like you, and our journey and what they can learn from us and what we can learn from them, right?
With other kids like me.
Right. So do you have any advice you can give parents?
With kids on the spectrum,
Mm.
that you please go and check out my channel.
Okay.
And that's good advice, people.
Right. Is there anything else?
No.
What do you like to do? What is your
Singing,
passion?
music.
Right.
And singing.
By the way, congratulations.
Thank you.
And on the Rose Theatre, Lester P. Peterson Theatre,
Yeah.
for performing amazingly. We're so proud of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, another clap. Right.
That's your passion.
Right. Thank you. Okay, so I guess you can go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll kick you to the curb.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
Yeah. Okay.
You can maybe move this chair. I don't know. It's up to you.
Yeah. I'm gonna move this chair. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Don't worry. Nobody's
Yeah. So we'll
watching
get
yet.
our crew in. Thank you for
Yeah.
helping us.
Okay. So. Right. So yeah, it's a bit tight for 3 chairs, to be honest. Right. Okay. That's fine. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, whoever joined us. But we'll wait about maybe 5 minutes to see if people can join us. And we'll start our show. We gave it just time to have everybody join us. Okay. In the meantime, maybe we can listen to music. I don't know.
Well, in the meantime, please powder your nose. Go to the snack bar, get some refreshments, and
Right.
but yeah, DJ Stevie in the house.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll wait about, like I said, about another 2 minutes, and we'll start our show.
We'll
Okay.
start
This
our
is
show.
World Autism Acceptance Day special show. Derek is fixing the camera, and I think it was okay before. It did. Okay. Yep. It's fine. Okay. We're just gonna wait, like I said, 2 minutes. It's fine. The mic is fine. I think they can hear us. All right.
Just looks a little tilted.
No, it's
So
fine.
if we lean like this,
It's fine. Look, it's fine. No. So, we just, like I said, 2-3 minutes. You want to start by introduction? What it means, Autism Acceptance Day. Nobody's there, so we're just gonna wait.
Yeah, we'll wait.
Wait another 5
Yeah.
to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Just give me a second. Give me a second. I think you should just leave it. It's the way it is. Okay? We wait for people to join. In the meantime, I will play music. All right. Okay, what is that song? Yeah. Yeah, play this. Okay. No, wait, the commercial is gone. Okay. What are you doing? Okay. No, we have to go back here. Okay, in the meantime, we'll play songs until people joining. This is really a great song. Um, Six minutes. He said. Can I have my phone? I'll see if people are watching. We'll start the show when people joining. Oh, well done, family. Okay, Leila's joined right now. Leila's here. I think Leila will start the show soon. Okay, just put it in. Once we have a couple of people, I see that Leila joined us. Thank you, Leila. We appreciate it. And once we have a couple of people, we'll start the show. In the meantime, this is a great song to really express the beauty and the talent of our kids. I mean, you can interpret it for what it means to us, each and every child on the spectrum, to their families. So, Christina Perri, 1,000 years. I really love this song, and it's a great song. So, when do we start?
After the song.
Once the song is finished, we'll start. I don't know why it's low, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think we have to. Hello? No. You can't hear, right? Can you hear?
I can hear the music.
No. This one. Oh, the mic is yes. Yeah, you can hear it. Okay. Once the music is finished, we'll start. So, can you hear us, Leila? Ask her. Can you let us know if you can hear us?
I think you already did.
Yeah. Yeah, 2 people waiting, so okay. Okay. We can start now. Okay. I think just close it at the X. No, just you don't have to. No, just close it here. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, everyone who joined us today. Today is the World Autism Acceptance Day. Around the world, where the day that we're recognizing our special kids, to say you're validated, you're accepted in the community, not only yeah, that's very good. That's what it is.
Yeah, it used to be called, hi everyone, DJ Stevie's wingman and his production manager, his parents. And as Yelem was saying, it is now deemed Autism Acceptance. And as Yelem and I always talk about, you can be aware of autism and the challenges and the joys that come with it, but you may not accept it. And so this is, I think it's been a couple of years that it's been changed.
Yes. Dirk mentioned it, but what does it mean? Why it's not awareness anymore? Why it's acceptance? Because awareness means it's just recognizing the person that exists, right? I'm aware of you, like you have autism. That's what it means. Acceptance, really accepting these kids in the community, building friendship, right? Accepting them in the workplace, right? And they are part of the community. They're our friends. They can work. They can go places without being judged. What it means when I specifically is like, if these kids are steaming, like if they're steaming, that's okay. That's part of who they are. And I won't be bothered by that. That's what it means. Acceptance means they can be part of the community. They work and they are, part of us.
Yeah, because when we talk about the elimination of racism, and I talk to my students and that, we talk about tolerance. Now, you can tolerate someone, but are you accepting them? No, right? You're putting up with them. So, you can connect that with acceptance as well.
Yes. So it's really, how did we talk about today our personal journey. How did we work towards acceptance, our own child, Stevie? What did we do? Well, it's a challenge for parents. Like, of course, you have to really work hard, in order to child being accepted in the community. That's what we're going to talk about. We'll discuss all that.
Yeah, so basically it's not a slideshow presentation, and that we can provide at a later date, as we did at the school when that Stevie attended in Ethiopia and that we worked at. But this is for, and many of you are new viewers to Stevie's almost close to 1,000 subscribers. So we're going to talk about our journey as parents and Stevie's journey as a child and now a young man who has autism.
Yeah. So like Derek said, we'll talk about our journey. We'll start by what happened at the beginning. Like we talked about it in a previous show. I think we had a show talking about our journey, raising a child on the spectrum. But we have a lot of subscribers, or DJ Stevie have a lot of subscribers. We want to thank him for allowing us to talk about this in his YouTube channel first. And so we have more subscribers now, so we'd like to start explaining, really going through what did we do to help him, right? It's not an easy, I'm not going to say this is easy, right? For any parent, it's a challenge that you have to take on, right? And Derek will probably explain at the beginning what happened when he was diagnosed.
Yeah, well, I mean, it goes to, we knew something was different, but there again, we didn't know anything was different because, you know,
Hi, Tati.
hi, Tati.
Yeah.
We are family. I've got Tati, Jaime, and Layla with us. Okay.
All right. So,
So, anyways, what were we saying? Yeah. So the challenges.
yes, yeah, like going through, like, I mean, we noticed something different about Stevie. I would say about age 2 or 3, right? Did we make it a big, did we notice that a big difference from the rest of our other kids? Not right away. I didn't, because we thought it's part of, a child, right? A baby. But we noticed that when he is with other kids, right? When he went to birthday parties, right? Other,
Yeah, he was with another family member who shall go nameless, who lives in Montreal. Very supportive. This family member drove 6 hours to see Stevie perform in that. But anyways, we noticed that Stevie had a strong aversion to noise.
yes.
And it was a
He was
birthday
about 3.
party for his cousin. And he was crawling under the table. And I think if you want to think back to it, he didn't have a lot of eye contact. Maybe there was the early signs of echolalia as well, which we didn't know. Perhaps there was early signs of his sensory issues, putting on shoes, and all the rest of this. So yeah, there was telltale signs of his autism early on, and we put him into a daycare, a local daycare, when we were living in the city of Richmond Hill, north of Toronto, and a psychologist at the daycare had given us a card to run some assessment on him, and both of us were like, whoa, 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 what's going on here? It's the best thing that really came our way, because early prevention is key to for parents, for educators. The more you know,
The better.
the better equipped you'll be to support your child who is under the spectrum of autism.
Like Derek explained, we put him into a pre-K program. I think it's the second day of that we had attending the pre-K program, that the teacher, a very good teacher, I might say, noticed something different about Stevie. And she mentioned that, have you thought about, he might have, she didn't mention autism, but have you thought about maybe having, assessing Stevie for autism? And I took it the wrong way, I'll be honest. We actually took him out on the second day because I thought, like, okay, she's picking on him. He's dark skinned and he's the only one, and every other child on that program is white. And I took the wrong way. Like I said, no, we're taking him out, right? You're just picking up on my son. But we also, okay, Derek, him being a teacher, he said maybe that's something we should look into. We noticed a couple of things. Maybe it's not bad to actually look and find out. So we actually took him to the local speech therapy program here in Canada, through the government. And the speech therapist, we thought like he was just being speech delay, right? But no, he wasn't. In fact, she mentioned like he's more than speech, but we have to have him assessed for autism. She said, I see a sign, like now I know what the signs are, right? Not giving eye contact, not playing the toys appropriately like any other kids, holding his ears, right? Any other things like
Well,
maybe
like when we went to the shoe store and that, and I don't even think he was totally verbal at the time, but he didn't want to try on a specific pair of
major
shoes,
meltdown,
and
yeah.
it wasn't as though they were too large.
No.
But most specifically, it wasn't because they were too small and they were too tight. It was the texture on his feet.
Yes.
So
Sensory.
sensory. So fortunately, we had a very good sales associate at the shoe store, and it took 4 or 5 pairs of shoes to try on, and so now we know.
Yeah, and the other a sign that we saw, he likes to be hugged extremely. So he's very sensitive to, what they call it, deep pressure. He wanted that extreme pressure. Some kids are sensitive to pressures. Not every child is on the spectrum the same. So Stevie is a combination. Sometimes he likes to be hugged extremely tight to feel that pressure, right? Other times he doesn't want to be touched or something, right? But we notice a number of other symptoms that, not us, but the person, the speech therapist, noticed. So she said, you know what, it's better to have him assessed. It took 6 months, but I must say, it took 3 days for the expert speech therapist. I can tell you for parents, really make sure your child gets a proper assessment, right? Just especially in Ethiopia, right? The assessment is like you might get just because the person comes from overseas, right? And say that I'm a psychologist, that doesn't mean they're qualified for assessing kids on the spectrum. You really have to ask a credential, right? What is that they did in the past? So in this case, it's because through the hospitals, they have speech therapists, occupational therapists, psychologists,
Social
a
worker.
social worker. It's a team of people who actually assess them. And they're very, right?
Yeah, well,
They're-
you want to make sure it's called a full battery assessment,
Yeah.
and you want to make sure that yes, the psychologist, psychoeducational consultant, that's a term that can be used, not only has credentials, but that holistically talks to other individuals. It truly is. I don't want to sound cliche, but a team effort.
Yeah.
And if you feel that it's rushed, then that's a sign that he or she, as the psychoeducational consultant, isn't going to, it will not, or is hesitant or averse to completing or undergoing a full battery assessment.
Yeah, here in Canada, like I said, they are very careful not to label kids, right? Because at that age, when they're like 3, that's why they take their time. The first appointment usually is interviewing the parents. That's what it is. It took a long, I think 3-4 hours interview, just the parents. And the second appointment is really observing the child. This is a day that they tell parents not to interfere or interrupt, right? Because they want to totally focus on the child, observing him. How did he play? How he interact with adults? How do he play with toys? Right? What his communication level is, right? Whether he is aware his surrounding, things like that. Right?
Yeah, well, in the time of day and that, so I think as Yelem was saying, is the key players are the parents, right? So developing a sound and solid relationship with the parents, getting their feedback and that. But Yelem was saying at first it's a shock to any parent. You begin to question those moments. Yelem, during her pregnancy, fell down during yoga. Stevie fell off his what was it? Remember the
Changing table.
The changing table. Did he hit his head and all the
a lot
rest?
of questions.
But I mean, the long and short of it is, the child has autism. So
Yeah,
what
accepted.
So acceptance. You see, there it is. So we're aware of it. Okay. So how accepting are you, and what are you going to do? And so then Yelem and I had to have those private moments amongst ourselves and say, all right, what are we going to do? And lo and behold, in the year 2007, we moved to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. And in hindsight, you know what? It's probably the best thing we ever did.
Yeah. The
Right.
best thing.
I mean, we have family, and family is so important, and
Yeah,
we thank our
huge thing.
family that's online and that
Support
will be
us,
watching
yeah.
this. Yeah, because it's crucial, right? I mean, there's that saying, blood is
You
thicker.
need a team of people.
Again, getting back to the team, blood is thicker than water, and Stevie is who he is because of family and close family or friends.
Yeah, you need that team. Like you cannot always be 24 hours for your child because mom and dad, they burn out as well and they need support. So your family, we're very lucky to have our family in Ethiopia supporting us when we were in Ethiopia. And so it wasn't without their support, I'll be honest. It would be very difficult to stay there.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, without naming the school, but it's the International Community School. And Yelem and I were just talking, right? Because we're in touch with the alumni, and some of our co-workers and friends and family members obviously are still in Addis Ababa at the school and that. And It's a community. It
It's a
really is. Now, I think now we can kind of segue into some of the challenges we had at the community school. So I don't know if you want.
it's really okay. Any school, I'll be honest with you, it's going to be a challenge raising a child on the spectrum. So what does it mean really? Being accepted in the community. For example, your child might be interested in music or in art. The school might not, people look at the child, they're just their autism, right? They don't look at beyond autism. Beyond means like looking at the child. He's a boy or a girl first who have interests, but he has autism, okay? It means nothing. Yes, we have some challenges, but can you look at beyond that, right? To
Well,
accept.
and then, like, I mean, okay, so Stevie's accepted into the community school. Great, right? I work there. Wonderful. Yalem began, well, not soon after was working. So we're all extremely closely tied to this community school. But they were not fully equipped to, I don't want to say put up with, to work with this child. And so the team really wasn't there. There was fractures, or there was some cracks in the team. So Yalem and I, we had to have those courageous conversations with the administration. And this was his first year in at the school, wasn't it?
Yeah. Basically, it was looking at, again, beyond the child's autism, right?
Right.
To see whether this, okay, yes, these kids, we bring them to this world, but we don't want to support them, right? You know.
Yeah, and I think so. What we did was we went and had our courageous conversation with the administration, and we respectfully reminded them of the mission statement, the philosophy, the school's philosophy, and the word in most, if not all, schools will talk about inclusion.
Yeah.
Right?
What is it?
Now you can say responsible inclusion. We get that, right? Safety, right? So we talked about Stevie not really being a safety or harm to anyone's safety. If anything, he's extremely loving. And again, getting back to that deep pressure that he's wanting to get close to people and that. So anyway, long story short, that was our first year in. And how long did Stevie, was he a student at the school?
8 years.
8
But we
years.
fought, like I said, we fought hard to keep him there. It's not like without challenges, right? Basically, proving them that any other, it's not only Stevie, kids who even have so-called behavior issues because of their autism. Most of the time, there is a reason why they have this difficulty. Because people don't understand them, right? So let's say assume a nonverbal child, right? Yeah, he make noise, he screamed, and the people think, oh, no, he's making noise. I can't have him in the school. But did you address why he's making that noise? He doesn't have communication. You're not understanding him, right? What can we do to help him, right, address his communication needs, right? There's so many things. And his sensory needs. There is a reason why they act out most of the time. So, right?
Yeah, well, that's it. And Yalem has shared this because Yalem educated herself. So we strongly recommend to parents. There are free webinars. Please use social media. But there again, also, and as I say to my students in that, be critical thinkers. Don't always believe what you see and hear within the so-called autism community. Because as we've joined autism groups where they're selling a lot of merch, like merchandise, and they're, they might be a part of the autism community, not for all of the right reasons.
Yeah. So I think to give really this is educational to educate parents for our own experience. The first thing you do is like if you notice a sign, some of the things like maybe the child is not speaking, But that's because your child is not speaking, that doesn't mean he's going to be diagnosed with autism. There is other things that goes with it, right? Some kids are, they just, late in speaking, but they look at all other factors before the child is, assessed for autism, right? Diagnosed with autism.
Yeah, and I mean they're because they're not they're elective mute, or they're, it's like getting a child who doesn't speak the mainstream language of English. Does that mean that we as teachers aren't going to teach this child? No. And I mean, there are ways of getting around and communicating with parents through translators. And now with social media, there is no excuse.
There is a lot of other factors that they look at before they diagnose your child on the autism spectrum, right? That, like I said, they're very, very careful in labeling kids. Why? Because they're young, right? They might change later on. So, so most of the time, I get to look at the communication deficit and the playing, the way they interact with other kids. For example, I guess the mainstream kids, they usually have a way of sharing their excitement, and if they play with one another, or if they find the toy, they go immediately look for another child to interact with child, or they share their toys. Most kids on the spectrum, they don't have that. That's one of the way they play, right? How do they play with toys? That's another one, right? And they also, I guess eye contact is debatable now, but most of kids on the spectrum, they might lack eye contact, looking at the person's eye.
Well, and eye contact could be cultural. I mean,
It could be cultural.
It could be
too.
cultural in that.
They're
So there
moving away
again,
from that, though.
Yeah,
They're moving
and
away.
I mean, so this is where you really need a full assessment, a full battery assessment, and to really get to know the child in that. Because I mean, as an educator, the greatest compliment that I get from my administration when I write my report cards is, Derek knows his kids. You can clearly see that he takes his time. So again, this is what we talked about right at the beginning, is and we fell trapped to this as well, because when we were in Ethiopia, there wasn't many psychoeducational consultants. We had one person who was really echoing her report, is a report that we had already give. So
that's why I said, like, parents usually do your work, do due diligence, to find, making sure that the person you're having, especially in Ethiopia, make sure they have qualification, right? Whether they look at their history, get a recommendation, reference, and to make sure they actually say they qualify to assess your kids.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at that point, there was, and this is back between 2007 and 2015, when we were there, we were almost tempted to go to Nairobi. We were tempted to fly down to Joburg and get assessment there. You do what you have to do. If you have the finances and the resources and the wherewithal to get that full assessment, it's key. It's key. And I know at the community school there were students, and not even under the spectrum, but it wasn't the right fit. And parents were there, and they were there for their employment purposes. And who suffers? It's the kids. Yeah. It's the kids. So, so we've been in for it's 33 minutes in that.
Okay, so let's continue what we talked about. This is very important, because for new parents who have suspicion, or they want to have their kids assessed, right? Make sure getting a report, like I said, finding out the right place to assess your kids. And once the child is assessed, and what else can you do? What do you do? What's the first thing? Because the information on the internet is overwhelming, right? A lot of things is written, some inaccurate, right? But make sure that you really finding out the website that .edu. Always the edu is education, right? Because when you do .com, you can get all kinds of stuff, right? But when you do look at information regarding autism or support for your child, make sure to check these EDU's education website that you can actually get good information.
Well, I get current because, I mean, awareness, the term awareness is not current. Also, we're wearing blue April 2nd, which is today, 2023. In the past, we have decorated our house in blue. We've had blue candles and, you know, lighted up blue. And what was behind the lighted up blue was that more boys were diagnosed with autism, but that's not the case now. Is that correct?
Basically, the term why lighted up blue is the blue is the color of boys, right? Boys' color,
Wow.
and they basically assume why, because there's a lot of kids on the spectrum. The majority of the kids on the spectrum diagnosed boys, right, with autism. But more and more kids now, it's a lot of even girls are lots of girls. So why we making it blue, and also awareness. That awareness, autism awareness, is it's gone now. Why? Because we already know by now that autism existed. We are aware of it. We have to move away from that term. Why they're choosing? So it's not the color blue, it's infinity, right? The word.
Right. So
Infinity.
just pretend we're wearing, well, it's different colors.
Yeah, but it's basically, it is what I'm saying is diverse, okay? We're not going to say autism awareness anymore. It's autism acceptance, because society has to accept these kids. Okay, let me explain it a simple term. So a person who have diagnosed with cancer, diabetic, right? Are they working? Yeah, right? Because these kids are not sick. They have a disorder. Somebody has to have a diabetes. He's diabetic, but that doesn't mean he cannot go to work. Some person have cancer. Yeah, he's still gonna go to work. He's still part of society. He still go to restaurant. So this is what we're saying. These kids, no more awareness, because we're aware. Awareness means like, okay, you're aware, but I'm not including you into my community, my work. I'm not giving you opportunity to school. I'm not giving you chances to contribute to society.
Opportunity.
Yeah, opportunity. Our friendship, like creating a friendship, everything. So what that means is we're accepting them. We have to accept them now, because that's, yeah.
Well, opportunity, and I mean, getting back to DJ Stevie, right? He was with the city for social skills groups and that during the summer and on Friday nights. And Stevie's teacher, amazing teacher, whom he doesn't have anymore, but had recommended life lessons, and they gave him an opportunity. I mean, he had to work at it. He had to apply for the job, and he had to do well in the job. We were behind the scenes helping him in that. But
he came a long way.
Well, he came a long way, and it's opportunity, right? So please, like if you see how he is now, it's because of opportunity. That's why I'm bringing that up.
Right. But before he came a long way. Okay, let me start by saying how much he loves music. So developing basically, how do you give your children to be accepted into a society? Okay, you really need to nurture their strengths. Okay, look at their passion. What are they passionate about? Just look at beyond their autism and look at give an opportunity. What I'm saying is expose them with different things, just like you do your other kids, a brother or sister. So give them an opportunity to experience and see what they're good at.
So give them the opportunity to succeed and give them the opportunity to fail. I mean, we put Stevie into swimming, to athletics and other. That's not his thing, right? And I've said to parents,
that he does run, so he's running.
Well, he does run, right? But I mean, that's he's into it. But as I've said to parents, as an educator, and that's not only with students under the spectrum of autism, but your child, your son, daughter, you can't force them to be who you want them.
They will tell you what they're good at.
Right?
They really are.
Because if that's the case, then I'm a lawyer, and I'm not a lawyer, right?
Okay, so when we say to expose them to different things, and you will realize they will themselves. They will tell you what they're good at.
Well,
right?
and the exposure is back to acceptance, because if people don't accept, then they don't give the opportunity, right? So
I want to tell the Stevie story, how he became, when it comes to music. At the age of 3, he knows a lot of music genre. He can tell you the inside at that time CD, memorize the CD. But in the school where he was in, was he given an opportunity? No. Why? Because he has a disability. Did we fought hard? Yes. Did he still was he accepted? No. Right? Why? Many kids on the spectrum is like that, right? Basically, as a parent, you have to be their advocate. Okay? Advocate for your child. Stevie wasn't, even though he loves music and he's good at it, he wasn't accepted.
Well, and you know what? Okay, so we're here talking about autism, but that can go into anywhere. Like in terms of, so I'm talking to my students about hidden racism in that, right? It's very hard to, like, pinpoint.
Yeah, but we're talking about.
I know, I'm just saying, so
Yeah.
you can carry that into other.
But he wasn't accepted.
All right.
He wasn't accepted to be in the music program in his school. He was there finally because we fought hard. We want him in there. So this is what I'm saying. As if you know that your child is good at something, be advocate. No one will come and say like, okay, no one will do it for you. It's you, the parents, right? Even here in Canada. I'm telling you, even here in Canada, no organization, even those who say your autism advocacy group, they wouldn't. Who advocate for your child? It's you. If you think that your child would deserve in the program, fight hard, right? Fight hard, and because we did, well, we make sure that he's in a group in a school band, right? We fought hard, even the teacher don't want him, right?
Yeah. So work towards opening those doors, creating the opportunities, and through all of that, keep in the back of your mind, this is in the best interests of your child, our child. So there was times when we've had our private conversations, and even today, right? There are people who, they see Stevie one way, and then we have to say, oh, okay. And we have to be strategic in that because we want to make it work for your child in that. So
yeah, be advocate.
Yeah.
Basically, it's not going to be easy. I'm not going to say to you it is going to be easy. Our children, they have to work double hard to be accepted anywhere. So Stevie worked hard to be really accepted into, even though he loves the passion he has for music. So
yeah, and working hard. I mean, we'll just say that if you go onto his YouTube channel, he's singing "Let It Be" by the Beatles. So all of that practices, viewers, 4-hour practices. Now it wasn't 4 straight hours, but it was 4 hours of Stevie being with mainstream young adults. So he's not with us. We noticed right from the Zoom meetings that they had way back at the beginning of January that, wow, this is the real world. Like, Stevie, this is not, they're going to treat him, and that's what we wanted. They're going to treat him as a not a neurodivergent learner, but someone who's going to be on stage and in this theater, and so they accepted him. So what we've noticed was his first time that it was the in-person, they were taking photographs, and it was hard for Stevie, right? Because it's hard, like when whether it's someone who suffers from Tourette's, to hold it together in that. And we could see at the end of the performance, Stevie was doing the rocking, so his autism was coming out, but we clearly saw and heard how accepting his fellow musical artists were and the directors of the program. So please, we want to thank them.
That's exactly center stage. Thank you, Tati, for a beautiful comment there. We couldn't do it without the family support, of course, and each and every one of you. But what does it mean? Exactly what he just said. Acceptance means accepting the child even with all their self-esteemness, what is it called? Steaming, right? The child steaming, that's okay. That's who he is. When steaming, we're flipping, right? Don't make him uncomfortable because that's who he is. That's his personality. Now, Stevie, he can tell you that's who I am. He's comfortable with his skin now. Like he can steam wherever he wants to in front of other people
Yeah.
without being afraid to do it.
Yeah.
Right? That's acceptance.
Yeah, well, and I mean, like we have a watchful eye as loving parents in that, and Stevie, came through, and he's continuing to make us quite proud in that. But it's a testament to, as Yelem was saying, center stage in that, and we could clearly see as we were sitting on a bench, and other young adults were coming out, and Stevie had already performed, right? And we could hear it, and we don't want to be intrusive. We want Stevie to do that. So Yelem had said to the other young adults, the kids, right, late teens, early 20s, as they're walking out, did Stevie perform? And they were like, yeah. And the MC, who's amazing, who's all of 13 years of age, who said, quote unquote, Stevie, you did well, dude, right? So, I mean, come on.
Well, okay, the world is changing slowly towards acceptance, right? We can see it on maybe not everywhere. We still have to work hard in Ethiopia. We're still in autism awareness mode there, but in other areas like here in Canada, they are coming to acceptance. But it's still a very challenging. I'm gonna say it's still challenging because these kids have to prove all the time that they're worth being into a program, right? So
Well, and it has to be the right fit because now we're looking for Stevie to be part of what's called a day program and for employment. And we have strong support system. One individual in mind who said, and it was a college, okay, a college. And Tati will just say it's the college that you applied to. So we'll leave that with you. And way back when, and there is a program. Anyway, long story short, this man who is head of the public school special education department said, Yelem, Derek, that program for 2 years is a mere babysitting. And that's not the right fit for Stevie.
most programs are like that.
Yeah. So you've
Yeah.
got to be careful, right? No, you've got to be careful, and it has to be the right fit. And we don't want to push Stevie into it, but we want to make it worth his while, and that because they were looking for people with a grade 1 to 3 reading. Anyway, it didn't work out. It wasn't the right fit.
What do you want to do? I'm so glad you brought that up because that's so important for parents to know, right? You want your children to be treated age appropriate, right? Programs, because there are some programs for age 15 kids, they treat them like they're babies. These are not babies. They are 15 years old, 16 years old. So you wanna treat them like a 15 years old, right? Any other child or youth. So you want the program to be age appropriate, that address the 15-year-old deficit. If they have a deficit, you want to treat them to get to that milestone, right? But most programs are not like that. It's actually set up to be these kids to be dependent in the society, not independent so that they can support themselves. They're actually set up to be dependent into society and the babies, like you said, a babysitting kind of things. We want to get away from that. We want to treat them at 20 years old. You want your child to be 20 years old, not like 5 years old.
Yeah,
Some
no,
of the programs are like that.
early prevention and that, and there's ebbs and flows, different stages in that, and so Stevie's involved with life lessons, and life lessons. I was at the studio there summer or two ago, and the head of the life lesson said, "Have you and Yelem looked into day programs?" And I said, "No, not yet." And she said, "Yeah, definitely." You should in that.
That's also transition.
Yeah, the transition is very, very, very important.
Adulthood, it's very hard.
Yes,
very hard.
yeah, it's big, and already and it's hard for mainstream people, right? I mean, leaving university and leaving the nest of,
I think
or
there are
leaving high school.
three
Sorry.
stages, to be honest with you, when your kids are diagnosed on the spectrum. The first is when they are diagnosed, right? And then you have them transition to day program or ready, because then they have to be potty trained. Our kids usually takes them a while to be potty trained and all other things. That's a big transition from home, and then they go to daycare. From that, right? My suggestion is really start early to teach skills, independent skills. I cannot stress enough. I wish somebody told me this long time ago, to teach. Forget about the reading. Forget about. I'm not saying don't teach them reading, whatever. They'll catch up. They're smart. They will eventually they catch up. The difficult part is really teaching life skills, right? So you want them to take care of themselves. You want them to make their bed, dress, take a shower, doing laundry. I would suggest you focus on those skills. It's so important for independence, their independence, right? So we do what you have to do to teach them, find visual pictures and things, even their nonverbals. So teach those skills first.
And make it fun. Make it fun.
Make it fun, yeah. But
Make it.
yeah,
Make it fun.
yeah, make it fun. But I'm saying gradually, age-appropriate skills they need to know, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying put everything at once, and but don't go to. Let's say if you're teaching them how to wash their hand, focus on those, right? And wait for the child to master that before you go to the next steps. But everything has to be age-appropriate, right? That's how they're gonna be supporting themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a logistical. There is an M at the end here. So if you think that we have T-shirts that say autism, there is an M. I don't know why they would have selected a color that blends in with the background, but because it looks like autism. Anyway, you might be wondering.
Okay. So now I want to really go through the acceptance part. The acceptance part, and really focus on what I want to leave you guys is accept these kids who they are. Don't try to change them. If your child, don't be because they're flipping or they're making noise, and try to make the world a better place for them, right?
Well, I mean, and developing coping mechanisms. Like I'm holding my hands. A friend of mine who is a principal in a school stutters, and he said during interviews or anything in terms of anxiety. So it's coping mechanisms, and we all have that with high anxiety and that. So and then developmentally, it's interesting how Stevie has. Without our even teaching him to do
He has
that.
his coping mechanism.
He has his own coping mechanism.
Yeah, he does a number of things to cope when he's on a stressful situation. Yeah, like that's one.
So yeah, just check out his performance. He does
and
that
also
during the
he does
instrumental.
this, the back.
Yeah.
He does this. Yeah, that's a coping mechanism, like when he's stressful. And so your children will teach you. To be honest with you, they're your biggest instructors, because they will teach you every day, and you'll be surprised at how many things they know. They're quite smart, but giving them opportunity and believing them and building their confidence and nurturing them. So. And
well, thank you for being part of our team, family member and friends, and that we value your support. Please, DJ Stevie, Rosina, good to see you. Well, not literally see you, but thank you for joining us as well.
Yeah. So the main reason that we wanted to do this today is really to want to talk about specifically the acceptance part. We're moving away from awareness to acceptance and transitioning, although it's not as fast as we want them to be, it's slowly going to a positive direction. So we are approaching the 1 hour mark here. So we had another 5 minutes. If you have any question at all, just I'll give you time to ask questions, and then anybody, if they have a question, they can write it down.
Right, and it's a journey. I mean, not to sound cliche, but it is a journey. And uh, parenting advice, yes. It's hard to hear parenting advice as you grow, but we echo even our own parents.
Yeah.
At times, you sound like your parent, I must say.
Yeah, exactly. And these, like I explained, loving your kids, the number one thing. Love them no matter what.
Well,
Yeah.
and genuine and authentic, because if a child has autism or Down syndrome, and that they can read how genuine you are, and by buying them gifts, every individual on this planet wants a connection, right?
Yeah. Every
And to
child.
know, right, clearly,
You're validated.
yeah, and it's the subtleties, and it's the not to sound cliche, but as parents, you're a maker of memories. As educators, we're makers of memories. And what memories do you want to instill with your child?
The other thing I want to mention is really, I don't want to forget this. Just because your child is on the spectrum, and sometimes parents they want to give them everything, and they let them get away with stuff that you don't do that with other kids. Please teach them manner. If they're disrespect with another, like I'm saying, teach them manner, teach them table manners or proper mannerism. Right, everything. And if they're not behaving, you also have to,
Well, and previewing with your child, because there's that sense of anxiety. And on another show or a previous show, we talked about all of our travels to England as we went to Ethiopia and then back to Canada. Prepping for Stevie to be on the plane. There's high anxiety.
Everything.
Yeah. So there's that. It's communication, right? And without communication, and again, for parents, if you find that you're in an organization or your child's in an organization and you're not receiving ongoing communication through emails or telephone or what have you, or then again,
definitely
you become the advocate.
That's a good point, because you want to communicate ahead of these kids. They don't want change, even at the smallest thing that you don't think that is important, but it affects their day. So even if your schedule is changed, communicate, right? Let them know ahead of time. The way I used to do it with Stevie is I have, when he was small, I have a star, like basically a star, or because he likes music, a musician image, right, that he likes. So whenever I communicate that with him, and I say, whenever I show you this, its schedule is changed. So it's not very dramatic event, because okay, schedule is happening, changing. You know what that means? I will show him a picture, and they say, yeah, okay, today we're not going to this place. Why? It's changing, right? Communicate that, and then
and then the greatest, I mean, with all due respect to the roads and the ring roads of Addis Ababa, but there's a lot of change, right? As we traveled from Torahailuch to the school, the ring road would be closed, the bridge, and that was just a good grounding for young Stevie to get used to that, and as you can't always get what you want.
But every parent have their own way of dealing with it. But you come up with a way to handle changes, like through positive image, right? You can do positive image or communicate ahead of time, and I'm adjusting it. So
and then meditation is the key for all of us, and they're calling it mindfulness, and that's important for children under the mainstream, but neurodivergent learners, and that it's really important for know how, and that's a coping mechanism. How do I calm myself so I'm not going to bite? And that's what Stevie was doing early on, and the biting, and that, and those are telltale signs that they are screaming for help and can't communicate.
Most of the time, it's like I said before, there's a reason why they behave in that way, right? It's because lack of communication, people not understanding them, there's one story, a psychologist who told me this, and she was used to work. A bunch of psychologists used to work in an autism center, and she said one girl particularly, she used to basically make noises all of a sudden. Uh, she started making noises, crying and biting people and everything. So they couldn't figure it out. So what they did, which a lot of people should do, is document every behavior. So documentation is another key important thing. So they document every day, and they realize after they couldn't figure out anything. And the last thing they didn't do is really physical, which she said they should have done that at the beginning. But physical means why she's making all this noise. And they look at her and they checked every part of her body, because she's nonverbal, she can't tell you. So they look at her mouth. She have really a sore gum, or she have really bad teeth pain, ache, right? So that's why. So there is always a reason, either lack of communication, people not understanding them, a number of things. So what it is, if it's a child is nonverbal, make sure that you have uh, find a way to communicate with your child through pictures, through packs, and other things. So it reduces
Picture exchange communication.
yeah, it reduces their anxiety, right? It's really important that you teach them how to communicate. Some parents do sign language, but if they're, like I said, even the kids on the spectrum who speaks, they benefit. They're visual learners, so pictures is very important. Communicate with pictures. It reduces their anxiety, right?
Yeah, and giving them opportunities to neurodivergent children under the autism, as Rosina knows, is to
Tracking.
Yeah, the seeing the trends is
Documentation.
is connection with children, because it's about modeling. Anyways, we're over an hour. We value your time. And if you feel value that friends or family members that you feel that would like to do this, please drop a line on DJ Stevie. Autism Rocks. Is that where people should go?
Right. So you have questions, you can give 2-3 minutes if you don't mind.
Well, we already gave 2-3 minutes.
Okay. All right.
And so we are over an hour. So we want to thank you for your time. So
thank you everybody who tuned in tonight. We really appreciate it for supporting our DJ Stevie. Make sure you follow him, because he will definitely have more shows and musics and things like that.
Yeah, no, and we're fostering his love and gift of music, and we're so
hashtag Autism Rocks, Autism Acceptance Day.
Yes, DJ Stevie in the house.
Thank you everybody for joining us, and all the family in Addis for tuning in. We really appreciate it. And here in Canada, friends and family, thank you.
Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Have a good night.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye. No, see.
End stream. End.